Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Guys, we're going to be seeing a video today, and I'm here with two guests. All right, today her name is Lauren and we have Rachel. All right, so today's video is typical Soviet apartment tour, how Russian people really live. All right, so we're about to see the Russian life, how their apartment looks like in the Soviet times. All right, so if you're curious to see this video with us, please subscribe. If you find this video interesting, do us like, share, and subscribe. All right, so guys, let's jump in.
People all over Russia live in all kinds of different apartments. They were built during different generations. In this video, we wanted to share some of these apartments and to show you how people live in the biggest country in the world. But to start, we need to head to Siberia.
Siberia.
Yeah. Welcome to Siberia. We got here quick. So the houses behind us are called Panelki. They used to be called Brezhnevki because they were built during Brezhnev time, but actually those ones were built a bit later, but they're the same style. They're called Panelki because they're basically built out of prefabricated concrete panels and put together. And those apartments probably most associated with Russia and with the Russian look. And actually the building behind me is where my gran used to live for over 25 years. Let's head inside and show you what it looks like. So there are lots of entrances to these houses. And as you can imagine, it can fit quite a lot of people inside. Apartments like this remind me of beehives.
Beehives. Okay.
So as opposed to Khrushchevki, these apartments actually, as well as these stairs, have a lift too.
Oh.
And one thing they also have is a trash chute. So yeah, trash goes in there, straight down the chute. Also, each floor looks like it has two doors, so two homes, here and here. But actually behind each door, there's two homes. So we'll go inside now and we'll show you.
Behind each door, there are two homes.
So we're inside your typical Panelki. And I wanted to show you this apartment while I had the opportunity. This used to be my grand's apartment. And this is two-bed apartment. Well, in Russian terms, it's two bed. If you were to say in English terms, I think it would be one bed. So here is the lounge. And quite a big balcony. A lot of people usually use their balconies as storage space rather than a place, you know, to sit and chill. You can see that it's way more roomy than your Khrushchevki.
It's actually spacious.
That's exactly what I wanted to say, like, it's spacious.
So here is our bedroom. Separate bathroom. And toilet.
Toilet a bit separate from the bedroom.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And here we have
This is the kitchen.
Oh. Really big. It doesn't look that old.
It's all.
At some point we actually used to live in apartments over there. And there you can see new apartments. They're actually built recently. And they're built on a swamp. There used to be a factory, textile factory, where my auntie actually used to work. And all the sewage from there used to be dumped over there. And my cousin told me that it was actually quite beautiful because in the winter it would never freeze as it was warm. So it looked really nice and, you know, mysterious. So yeah, instead of a swamp, we have new buildings there now. Those types of flats, the same as Khrushchevki, still have a terrible soundproof system, so you can still hear your neighbors very well. But size-wise, they're way bigger than your Khrushchevki. I spent my whole life living in apartments like this, bigger or smaller in size, and I wanted to show you.
Wow, getting to see this right here, like it's really amazing and beautiful to see how the typical Soviet apartment in Russia actually looks like. Okay,
Yeah.
from the beginning, I heard them saying like the house actually has lifts. Who would have imagined that way back?
Yeah.
Back, like, can you
Houses,
imagine?
apartments actually have
Lift.
lifts.
Lifts.
That's the
I was even going
this,
to
the
say
level of Russian technology. It's not today.
It
It
has
has
gone
been
back
Oh.
way
in
back.
time.
This is really
Yeah.
cool.
This specific apartment because it's very, very important to me. And this specific apartment was my home.
Wow.
Hmm.
You know what's interesting is all of these buildings in Russia that we're going to show you are named after different presidents, so different eras, and they were named after different presidents. So this, as Julia said, is Brezhnevki. You've also got
Wow. Named after
Khrushchevki,
different
Presidents.
presidents.
You've
That's
also
quite
got
interesting.
Putin.
Yeah.
And each of them were built to solve a different problem. These were built because the Khrushchevki, that were the original buildings to counteract the overpopulation of the Soviet Union, were built because after 15, 20 years of people living in these cramped little Khrushchevki, people started to get tired of that way of living and they really needed some more space. So there was a lot of appeals to the government, to the Soviet government at the time, to build bigger apartments. And yeah, this is where these big projects came about, to build these Brezhnevki, which are 10 floors, and the apartments inside are a lot bigger than those of the Khrushchevki and the little houses that people were living in before. So what's fairly typical when these buildings were built as well is they were built along a main road, and just behind these buildings is the main road, Prospect Molodezhny, and then they usually have big courtyards in between the middle of these entire blocks. And in this courtyard there's a football pitch, which is obviously covered in snow, and like a park for kids.
This part of the city used to be my favorite. I thought this was the best place to live in the city. I don't really know why, probably because I grew up here and everyone feels that way around the area where they spend majority of their time in. However, now there are lots of new parts of the city which are being developed. My cousin actually lives there and we're renting an apartment there during our stay in Kemerovo. So let's head over there, show you what these new areas look like and apartments inside.
This region is more of a kind of elite region here in Kemerovo, and it's built down on the banks of the River Tom, which is the main river that flows all the way through Kemerovo Oblast and then into the Ob River and off to the Arctic Ocean. So the views from down here are really beautiful, and the air is probably the best quality in the city, I would say. And yeah, let's take you inside the apartment that we're staying, which is costing us on Ostravok, which is like the Russian Airbnb, around $20 a night.
$20 a night?
But usually, obviously, to rent full time would cost a little bit less. Let's show you inside. It's so windy today. Oh my god, my fingers are freezing.
Siberia is really cold.
Yeah. The place looks really beautiful.
Let's show you around a modern
so this
apartment
is
here in Russia.
A modern apartment in
Siberia.
Russia.
This one is pretty small. It's only 26 square meters.
It's very wide.
Yeah, we've
It's wide, and they're saying it's small. Wait, this is not
really
small.
wide.
This
It's
is
amazing.
Like,
spacious.
really
Here's the
wide.
bedroom. Here's the
Okay.
kitchen.
Okay, the office area.
And yeah, so it's got everything. There's a hob, oven, and then fridge
Can
freezer
walk
over
comfortably
here.
at home.
Yeah, I think this is more like a studio
Oh, this is their
apartment.
fridge.
And then back into the corridor, you've got a big
Okay.
kind of cupboard area.
Wow. Wow.
And last but not least,
Oh,
Okay,
my.
this
This is beautiful.
This is great.
Wow.
Hey.
So arranged.
Wow.
So unlike the
a studio-
previous apartment where
Yeah.
the toilet is different from the
The
bathroom,
bathroom,
but
yeah.
here it's together.
Everything is
So
together. And then I think this is
also
And in a
more like a
more
studio
modernized
apartment because everything is just like
Yes,
arranged in one
arranged.
space. You don't have to like. Wow, this is good.
the style of this apartment is fairly typical for modern apartments here. But yeah.
Throughout the world, really. I think that's how they build them everywhere now.
To be honest, yeah, they're pretty cut and paste, right? A small kitchen with a little bit of worktop space. Dining area. What I do like about this is it's really light. And the view, we're only on the second floor, but I'd imagine if you were on the higher floors, the view over the city would be really, really beautiful. It's just lacking an extra bedroom. But overall, I really
lacking an extra bedroom.
Here in Russia, and we'll show you a couple of others in this video if we haven't already.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
There is not much to show over here, and to be honest, for me, it's quite strange to see these kind of apartments here.
For
the
sure.
size of them that small.
For sure. Like we've been used to your grand size apartment, right? Which is basically double.
Yeah.
And those style as well. Like every time we've come to Russia, we mainly stay in that like Brezhnevki, in that sort of style home. So yeah, it makes a real change to stay in a modern apartment. But
I wonder if the soundproof system is better in those kinds of apartments, because in Panelki, if your neighbor is coughing, you literally feel like they're coughing in your room.
That's really hilarious. Like if your neighbor is coughing in their room, it's literally as if it's right in front of you.
No privacy. No privacy
This
at all.
apartment would cost you about 5 million. I feel like a estate agent, like,
5 million.
good price, they're doing a good price. It's 5 million. I actually asked my cousin, he bought an apartment which is 51 square meters in 2019 for 3 million.
in the building next door, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, prices here have gone up quite a lot, especially in ruble terms. Maybe if you translate the price of the ruble to dollar, it may not kind of work out like that much of a jump. But in ruble terms, prices here in Kemerovo, we can't tell you about the entirety of Russia just yet, but here in Kemerovo, prices have changed a lot. That's because everyone from the region's moving here, right?
That's true as well. And they're building a lot of new apartments going everywhere.
Let's show you the view, last but not least. There we go. The river's just there, but we're only on the second floor, so you can't see it. But I think if you were up high, you'd be able to see all
Second
over
floor.
the city.
Look at this.
So beautiful.
Behind us is the famous Khrushchevki, which you will see all over Russia. We're currently staying in one tonight, so let's take you inside and show you what it's like.
So this is your typical one-bed Khrushchevka, which obviously had a bit of an upgrade. Those types of buildings were constructed from mid to late 50s till 70s under the Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev, hence the name Khrushchevki. They were built as a quick solution to overpopulation back in the Soviet Union. And they're known for being pretty small. As we're sitting here talking, I can literally hear everything the neighbors are doing upstairs. And they were actually famous for having a very small kitchen, which I find quite funny now. I'm sitting in the kitchen right now, and it doesn't seem that small, especially compared to how the kitchens are built in all the new apartments now, which are literally non-existent. So we're currently staying on the first floor, and we don't have a balcony, but typically an apartment in Khrushchevka would have a balcony as well. I personally never lived in one, but many of my friends did. And Khrushchevkas to me always associate with just good memories and coziness. But I'm sure there are lots of different opinions on that one. And you can find those types of buildings literally everywhere across post-Soviet countries.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, we absolutely had to take you to the northern capital of Russia, to St. Petersburg, and show you a completely different type of home and a completely different way of living. These are the Baroque homes of the very centre of St. Petersburg, built during the Russian Empire period from the 1800s into the early 1900s, and these are just so grandiose. We're going to take you inside the building that we're staying now and show you what it's like inside. And here in Russia, the entrance hall area everywhere around the country is called a podъезд, which is where you go through before you get into your apartment, yeah, where the lifts and stuff are. But here in St. Petersburg, they're called paradnaya, like parade. because of course everything here in St. Petersburg is exquisite and on a different level to everywhere else in Russia. So let's take you inside our Paradnaya and then show you our apartment here. So the main street here in St. Petersburg is called Nevsky, which goes from the main train station all the way up to the main square, to where the Hermitage Museum is. And we're staying on a street called Maratha, which is just off of Nevsky, which is here. So we're in the very center of the city. Let's take you inside.
This is not just the podъезд. This is Paradnaya, an entrance hall.
Look at the ceilings there.
Actually, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Imagine owning an apartment somewhere like this. I mean, you made it in life if you do, in my opinion.
I mean, it's very dated, obviously, but you feel like you're going back in time, right? We're in the 1800s now.
Also, in St. Petersburg, they often have a different side where you enter the building. Usually you would enter it from the inside, but here you would enter the building from the main street. So there is a second entrance right there where you can go inside the courtyard and also bin your rubbish there. There are bins there as well.
So obviously this courtyard area back in the day would have been a meeting place, you know, for people that are living in these buildings, for them to sit down and have a cup of tea. But obviously, yeah, now it's just a place to bin your rubbish.
Parking as well.
And parking, yeah.
You know what I'm surprised about? See lifts here. We're staying in apartment number 6. Imagine there is a whole floor for just one apartment.
Wow.
An entire
This is
floor.
really
An entire
interesting.
floor.
Right, they used to be so big. Obviously, a lot of them are split up now, aren't they?
Yeah.
As you'll see.
Let's take you inside. Now there are 3 apartments here, but imagine this used to be just one massive apartment. And what I love about them the most, the ceilings are so high, they're actually huge. So let's show you inside of one of the apartments, one of the rooms, I guess that was before. Let's start with the bathroom. And this apartment is actually really nice. It's one of the nicest we've ever stayed in. When we were in St. Petersburg before, the situation was completely different. They were so crammed. It seems like they split it not in 3 apartments, like in 5. So it was ridiculous. There was literally no space. But this one's actually quite modern and quirky, and there is enough room for the 2 of us, 100%.
Wow.
It's really nice and clean, beautiful looking apartment. The stairs are quite steep. You have to be careful if you need the loo at night. Obviously, you can't stand up straight, even me, and I'm very short. Yes.
Obviously, as Julia said, these ceilings here are so high. And
That's the
this
bed.
part is
Yeah.
an addition
Wow.
by the owners when they split this massive apartment into 3. But can you imagine how people used to live here in this central part of St. Petersburg, in these massive apartments with really high ceilings, balconies? I mean, they're properly grandiose. And we've seen apartments like this obviously all over Europe. In Vienna, we stayed in one very similar that had been converted. In London, and I really love these old buildings, to be honest. They are so bourgeois, I think the word is. And yeah, you feel like you've gone back maybe 150 years to a different period of time when you're here. Welcome to a completely different region of Russia, and one last apartment type we wanted to show you is right in front of us now. This is also a Khrushchevka, but these are what are called общаги, общежитие, aka shared apartments, or almost like a hostel format. Each of the apartments you see in front of you is shared between 3 or 4 different people. They'll have a shared kitchen, and actually this one in front of us always makes me laugh because they've got the doors for the balconies, but there's no balconies on this building. So in the summer when we've been here, you see people with the doors wide open. If you've had a few too many or something and you're not paying attention, you could walk straight out of that door and fall 5 stories to the ground. Yeah, it makes me laugh because I've never seen that happen. Perhaps if I saw that happen, my face would strain a little bit. And anyway, on that note, I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting. We certainly have, exploring not just the different apartments and different types of ways that people live in, but also the different regions of the country with that. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
This is really interesting. But I would like to know, what's the rent duration in this particular part of Russia? Is it monthly, weekly, yearly? Please let us know in the comment section. Because here in Nigeria, ours is yearly.
Yeah.
Is yearly. But
So
I would
I
like
think
to know.
I think it should be monthly, but still let us know in the comment section anyways
Alright.
if it's otherwise. All right. This is really wonderful. Like, we had a great time checking out this video. All right. I love the Soviet architecture of Russia. Like, it's really beautiful, and the technology. There has been technology all along in Russia.
Yeah.
All right. So it's just like trying to modernize what they
What was
already
there.
have, what was there before already.
And you
So
know, the fascinating part is they say it's old and, you know, compared to modern. But when you look at those houses, they are still so
they're still
clean.
clean. They
Still
still
so
look
clean.
modern
Yes.
to me.
Yeah.
This is really
You know, compared
beautiful.
to what we have over here, that is really modern.
Yeah.
Really amazing. I
So
love it.
we had an amazing time checking
Yeah,
this
we
video. It's
did.
really
Yeah.
beautiful. Like, I love the video from the very start to the finish, despite the fact that some rooms actually look smaller, some
Yeah.
look spacious.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. All right. So we really cannot say much about how big or how small the rooms should be. Okay. So it's you guys living in Russia that can actually tell us if these rooms are actually better, if they are basic, or if it's extra, or if it's too small.
Yeah.
You guys should let us know in the comment section. All right. This is really wonderful. Thank you for watching, and see you guys on our next one.
Bye.